For the money, I believe the contents of this box are the single best exterior upgrade for your C5 Corvette available today, period. When is the last time that you took a good look at your front turn signal assemblies? Perhaps you already know they're in rough shape, but you don't want to jump on the current trend of replacing them with LED assemblies that are dependent on hyperflash units, or you don't want to deal with the hassle down the road. When eventually something fails, a bad LED or the hyperflash goes out, where are you going to find parts? Will that manufacturer even be around? Either way, I've got you covered with a decent, inexpensive replacement option so you can swap out those trashed units. And the best part, this option even uses stock bulbs that you can find at any auto parts store. So stick around because we're going to review, test, and install these on the C5 next.
Toys for life.
Recently, I was out in the shop. I know, shocker. Anyways, I was looking at the C5 and it occurred to me there's something about my C5 that just looks like crap. As I was looking a little bit closer at the front end of my C5, it pains me to see all of the sandblasting my paint has had to endure, as previous owners have obviously followed cars too closely. I mean, why do people do this? My theory is either back off or pass. Anyway, as I was admiring the sandblasting on my front end, what really jumped out at me is these turn signal assemblies, because they were screaming, hey, I'm old. Seriously, take a look at them. They're faded, they're dull. There's even some cracks, probably from pebbles being kicked up from that previous owner tailgating other cars. And here are the beauties from Amerilite that I picked up for just $55 for the pair, but are they any good? Now, I'm not going to do anything crazy like throw rocks at them or anything like that, but I am going to give them a water test just to make sure they do a decent enough job of keeping out water if I happen to get caught out in the rain. And to do that, I've got my wash bucket full of water, and I'm just going to press these down into the water far enough so that the seams are submerged for about 15 seconds, as that's the only spot that they really could leak. Survey says, guys, these passed with flying colors, so now I'm just itching to get them installed. Guys, you're gonna need to get the C5 off the ground just a little bit. Ramps or jack stands will work just fine. If you don't have a set of custom ramps, just build yourself a set. I'm underneath the front passenger side of the C5. Here's the right part of the air dam. I'm gonna remove this with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. Mine's a little modified because of the supercharger routing of the piping, but yours will be very similar to this, and that should give us access to get part of the hardware removed for the turn signal. Now, most of you won't have this on your C5. This is the blow-off valve for the supercharger. I'm going to go ahead and remove just this part here so I can get more access up to where the parking lamp is. So here's the first screw we have to take out. I believe that's a 7mm. I'm going to fish the camera up in here because then there's a 10mm up in the corner we'll have to get as well. Now, to get the 10mm in the front, we're just going to push this brake duct down. And although you can't see it, it's just straight up in here. And I'm going to go ahead and use a 3/8 ratchet with a little extension to get at it. And I finished it off with the universal drive here. And there it is. There's also a spring in here that we have to quickly deal with, and it just comes off with your hand easy, so just make a note of it, take a picture of it, and it'll pop in as we reassemble this. All right, we're almost past the finish line. We just got to remove the bulbs from their sockets and slide this out. It's a boy. Now we just remove the old light from its holder by removing these 2 screws, and we'll swap the new light in. One good sign of an aftermarket part is one that goes in with no modifications whatsoever, and so far this passes that test. Now it's just a matter of reversing the order and installing the new turn signal. Reattach the spring, which, as you will see, is obvious. Now just go ahead and reinstall everything in the reverse order of disassembly. With the passenger side done, it's time to get rid of this eyesore, and for that, we're going to start by removing the lower panel. This side's a lot easier to work on because all I have to deal with is the brake cooling duct. There's the 7mm that has to come out. And then over on this side, you can actually see that 10mm screw that has to come out. The 7mm has easy access from underneath, then move to the front, push the brake duct down within the opening, and again with a 10mm and a short extension and a 3/8 ratchet, remove the 10mm screw. Then you can just push the light in, remove the lights from the turn signal assembly, and then slide the assembly out through the bottom. Back at the table, just go ahead and remove the 2 screws holding the light to the holder, swap in the new light, and then tighten those 2 screws back up, and you're done. Now it's just a matter of sliding the assembly up into the general area, inserting both of the bulbs, and then push it up further, attach the spring, the 7mm, the 10mm from the front, and then the removable panel from the bottom, and this project is finished. So was it worth it? Well, here's a good look at the old lights from 2003, and they've clearly seen better days. Wow, what a stunning difference for just $55 and an hour or 2 of work. This is a no-brainer. So what about the manufacturer of these lights, Amerilite? Is it a legit company? Now admittedly this is my first experience with Amerilite, but from my receipt, inspection, handling, and installation of these lights, they appear to be a top-notch quality product. The price at $55 a pair is an absolute steal. And if you look at their website, they appear to manufacture all of their own headlights, turn signal lights, etc. for a vast variety of vehicles. So I think this is a legit company, and I'm absolutely bookmarking their page for any of my future lighting needs. Guys, at the end of the day, this was a pretty easy project that most people could do for themselves, and at $55 for the pair, there's really no reason not to. If you found this video to be useful, guys, please hit the thumbs up below so that YouTube knows to share it with the C5 community. And as always, thanks for... Oh, one more thing. Now that we've spruced up the front end, I'm thinking an upgrade for the rear end is in order. Coming soon.